I went to college to be an English teacher, but unfortunately it just didn't work out for me. The educational system was broken, the children hated me, and I just wasn't up to the immense workload required of a teacher. I did come away with a diploma and several life lessons learned, though, so there was that. With all of my skills as an educator, I decided the best thing I could do was writing and storytelling, which came out in my D&D Stories. Hello and welcome to another D&D Stories. I am your host, TheWriter. This is a show where I sit here and regale you with all the tabletop gaming stories and remember when something cool happened. So, we return after the end of Goddess Wheel, after the end of that long chain of campaigns, and I have a one-shot here for you today, so just the opposite of the big epic storyline. We have a comedy one-shot called Be Goblins. Now, Be Goblins is for the Pathfinder system, and I think the goblins make the best mascot ever. Now, you know how Final Fantasy has like the chocobos and Pokemon has Pikachu and all that. Pathfinder has the goblins. They're these little round-headed guys, and I even got the comic books. They had a limited release of something called Pathfinder Goblins that were like 5 issues of comic books just for these little green monsters, and I love them to pieces because they're so funny. They're so needlessly stupid and violent, and they sing war chants, and they steal your baby, and they make baby stew. It's just like the dumbest, grossest like things you've ever seen, but they're so funny. Now, as far as Pathfinder goblins are concerned, there are a few rules that go with them. So they don't like horses, number one, because they can get trampled. They don't like dogs. They don't like babies because they're noisy. They think writing is forbidden because writing will steal words out of your head, and that's no good for goblins and stuff like that. So they're like a tribal society that shuns writing. Some of them still know magic somehow, but they're super tribal. They're always like tearing animals apart and like licking poisonous frogs to experience the hallucinogenic effects and stuff like that. They're not very powerful monsters. I think they're like a challenge rating 1/2 or 1/3 or something. So they're literally just something for your adventurers to like cut their teeth on. But if you play them properly, they're so funny. I love them to pieces. Now, because they grew so popular, Pathfinder's art director and artists are some of the best fantasy like monster shapers I've ever seen in my life. And they came up with these bowling ball headed little bastards that I love. And because they grew so popular, they set out a module called Be Goblins. And now there's Be Goblins 2 and Be Goblins free. And I've not played the second or the third one, though I would love to. But I have played the first one. Be Goblins was actually my introduction to the Pathfinder system. It's how I discovered that Pathfinder is completely compatible with D&D 3.5. So if you jump over to Pathfinder, not only is it almost exactly like D&D 3.5, but it's better because they fix a lot of stuff that's wrong with 3.5, and they're still coming out with books today. You know, they're up to what? D&D Next or D&D 5 or whatever it is now. They change editions like every 2 or 3 goddamn years now. Pathfinder has stayed the same, and they keep putting out books. So there's like Ultimate Intrigue and horror campaigns and I've got a whole shelf full of Pathfinder books, and they're still coming out with it. They have a subscription service to send you modules like every month. Anyway, I'm plugging for Paizo right now, but listen to this. I got a printout of the summary for Be Goblins. Listen to this gold. A most unusual adventure for first-level goblin characters. So yeah, you get to play as a goblin in Be Goblins. It says, "The lick-toed goblins of Brine Stump March have stumbled upon a great treasure, fireworks. Yet, unfortunately for them, the tribe member responsible for the discovery has already been exiled for the abhorrent crime of writing," which every goblin knows steals words from your head. "To remedy this situation, the Licktoad's leader, his mighty girthness, Chief Rendwaddle Gutwad, has declared that the greatest heroes of the tribe must venture forth to retrieve the rest of the fireworks from a derelict ship that is stranded in the marsh. In order to prove themselves as the Licktoad's bravest goblins, the players must complete a series of dangerous dares, from swallowing bull slugs and braving the dreaded ear biter to dancing with Squealy Nord himself, who is a pig. Yet even once they've proven their mettle, the adventure is just beginning, for the ship in question is far from uninhabited, and Vorca, the cannibal goblin, would like nothing better than a few tasty visitors." Now tell me you wouldn't want to play that, where you could be one of these green little bastards and run around on a quest for fireworks because your chief says so. And I was instantly sold. I was like, you know what? I've never played Pathfinder. I gotta try it. And Be Goblins not only hooked me into the goblins themselves, but to Pathfinder in general. So I've got Be Goblins to thank for that giant freaking shelf of Pathfinder books. I was like, wow, if they treat the goblins this well, I can't imagine what all the proper heroes and like the good people and who have like magic and stuff are actually like. And yeah, it's an amazing system. But I'll stop harping on Pathfinder as a system. Let's get into the story. So it was kind of like a pickup group, I suppose, since Be Goblins was a one-shot. That means you sit down for one session of the game, and then you only leave when the game's over. So it doesn't chain into multiple nights, into multiple sessions. It's just a short adventure, and then you're done. Which can pull some power gamers and assholes, because if there's no consequences for your actions after the one night, then they can do whatever the hell they want. Well, yeah, that can happen sometimes. But I was curious to try the new system, so it was a DM who had brought in Be Goblins and the pre-generated characters and all that stuff. It actually came with like a rogue goblin and an alchemist goblin and a fighter goblin and stuff like that for us to actually just sit and play. And he had dice and pens and everything just sitting out. He said, okay, just like the first 4 people that show up, we'll sit and play. And Gamers Guild had like a whole bunch of different side rooms and things. So he just grabbed a side room. He's like, yeah, first come, first serve. And I was like, I'm between campaigns right now. I'm going to go play this one shot. Sounds fun. So I think I picked up Alchemist Goblin, if I remember right. But Robert, the guy that ran the Ouroboros campaign, picked up Rogue Goblin. But we'll get to him, because seeing him as a player was almost as bad as seeing him as a DM, but like I said, we'll get to that. And I didn't know the other 2 people. So there were 4 goblins setting up for this this one-shot adventure to retrieve the fireworks. Now, the goblin chieftain, Chief Gutwad, said that in order to prove ourselves as heroes and worth sending out into the marshes to retrieve what is ours, we had to do a series of dares, like we're 9-year-old children. It's like, we're the Licktoad tribe. You got to prove yourself before we're going to send you out on a mission. Thankfully, though, we are right in the middle of a festival, so there's lots of like little mini games for us to play. One of which was Squealy Nord. Now, the DM made up like 5 or 6 mini games that weren't in the module, but they were basically showing us what skill challenges were, or skill checks were. Squealy Nord was a great big pig, or a boar, or something similar, and they'd slathered him down with like wax and oil and all these things, and you had to stay on his back on like a rodeo style sort of thing for X number of seconds, and you could win a prize. And the same went for, there was an obstacle course. There was a goblin named Ear Biter, I think, who you had to like wrestle him and stuff like that. There was a bull slug eating contest where you had to eat as many slugs as you could in the time limit without barfing. So you had to do like the fortitude save or what the will save, whatever it happened to be. And each one of these contests came with like a prize. Like you could get like a dog slicer +1 or a belt of strength or like little things that goblins would have that you could give for all these different challenges. Unfortunately for our party, Rob, our rogue goblin, decided that he was going to play all the games without us. I don't know, I can't even remember. It's been so long now that he either like talked over us or talked faster than us or whatever, but he ended up with like the dog slicer +1, he ended up with the belt, he ended up with a cloak and like an extra alchemist fire and all these other things. And I was like, Rob, you got to leave some for the rest of us, dick. He'd played like more than half the mini games just on his own, trying to win all the prizes that he could. I was like, this is a one-shot. You're going to have to fucking share, ass. So we had to like reel him in just a little bit. And yeah, we're goblins, so we're supposed to be rude and stick our tongues out at each other and do like nasty poems and like stick our fingers in our noses and like wipe the boogers on each other. Our DM basically encouraged us to be assholes to each other the whole time because that's what goblins are. You're supposed to be an asshole. And each one of us ended up with a lick-toad tribe toad, which was a big frog, like in a tiny bird cage, and you could open the bird cage and take it out and and then put it back like it was for good luck or something. And one of the toads had like a chance of having hallucinogenic properties, so if you licked him you would go in on like a short drug trip where you saw like kobolds in the bushes or something like that. So it was a menagerie like festival of mini games and eating contests and wrestling and can you stay on the pig for 18 seconds and win the prize, and all this different stuff was going on all at once. But basically it was like a bunch of 9-year-olds running around playing carnival games, just dicking with each other the whole time. Like I know he's about to ride Squealy Nord, but I'm going to tie his shoelaces together so that he can't win the prize. I'm going to win the prize. You know, then they pour more wax and more oil on the pig, and they're like, damn it, how am I going to stay on? Yeah, stuff like that. So it was really funny because, again, we spent half the time just dicking with each other, and we ended up, like I said, with the dog slicer, the belt, the cloak, a series of Roman candles, you know, the long tube fireworks that would like shoot sparks, and we could use those like weapons because we were so small. Goblins are small-sized creatures, so they would only come up to your waist at the very most, and they use them like short-range guns or crossbows. Basically, you could fire a blast of sparks into something's face, and it would do like a D4 of damage or a D6 of damage, depending on how close you were. It was really funny, I thought. So, being alchemist goblin myself, I could throw like little alchemy bombs and little alchemist fires that we won from the mini games. And I think because I was an alchemist, I had like infinite alchemy bombs, or quite a few alchemy bombs that I was never going to run out. But the alchemist fire was like a D6 of splash damage, so we had to make sure that all those found their way to the alchemist, and we could we made sure that all the proper people got all the proper items after Rob decided to play all the mini games himself. It's like we jump him and take most of his stuff. But once we have done all of these dastardly dares set down to us by the chieftain, we have proven ourselves worthy. You know, and should we come back, you know, Princess, you know, the chief's daughter, Princess Gutwad, will be back there, and she's got a real reputation as a greasy, nasty slut, and she's it's in the text. I'm not making it up. When you get back, the princess is supposed to pick somebody. But finally we do all these dares, and we're like, okay, we're setting off into the marshes to go find Vorca, the cannibal goblin. And even among goblins, cannibalism is not cool. So we've got to set off out there. But unfortunately, in order to get to the ship, we already know where it is because there's only one ship in the whole marsh. We have to go through the territory of long legs eating baby goblins many. And we go, what is that? And we go, long legs eating baby goblins many is a monster that eats goblins. And we're like, oh no, what is that? Can I cut it up with my dog slicer? Do I set it on fire with my alchemist fire? I will tear off its many legs and eat the legs. We're totally into this by now. And, we are not scared of long legs eating baby goblins mini, and we never shorten it into anything. It's like, do you want to take on, long legs eating baby goblins mini? We're going to tear the fuck out of long legs eating baby goblins mini. we never give him like an initials or shorten the name into anything, but without like going around this massive swath of forest and marsh, we're going to run into this thing either way. So this is the reason that we watch the goblin children very closely, because it has a particular penchant, whatever it is, for eating goblins. And we're like, okay, well, there's 4 of us and 1 of it, and we've got a +1 weapon and we've got alchemist fire, and I give everybody else like 1 alchemist fire. It's like, I don't like to share, but all right. If we get a clear shot, everybody just throw it, and that's 4d6. At level 1, 4d6 is catastrophic fire damage, so we'll see what we can do. Everybody sitting at this table is a veteran, so we're already like prepared for weirdness at level 1. But we go through this forest, and we hear something climbing through the trees, and we're like, what is that? What is that? And our little beady, glowing red eyes like search the trees. And Rob gets sneak attacked by a giant spider, like a great big spider. He's like, ah! He gets bitten like right on his back and gets poisoned straight away. And one of his arms goes limp, and he like rolls out of the way, and it's just like instant boss fight. Long Legs Eating Baby Goblins Mini was a giant spider, and it had webbed up all the trees for quite a distance. It webbed up all the branches and leaves and plant life, and it's like we were sticking to half the surfaces we had. But we're like, throw the alchemist fire, boom, and it, all the webbing catches fire. We're like, oh, that was a bad idea. That was a bad idea. And so, being the alchemist, I can, surmise that, we're all goblins and we all like fire anyway, because when in doubt, kill it with fire. We run towards the flames to the area that's already been burned up, so we can stand like on the ashes and the fire will spread elsewhere. So the webbing starts to just go up in flames. The trees not so much, because it's a marsh, so everything's wet and sticky anyway, so it's not real prone to catching fire. But the webbing is, dry and covered with whatever that makes it sticky, so it's going up pretty quick. And Long Legs Eating Baby Goblins Mini is pissed. So, Rob jumps up on its back. I've got my dog slicer, blah, blah. Alchemy bomb, and we've got our fighter swinging his own dog slicer back and forth, and dog slicers are like short swords, bigger than daggers, smaller than short swords, but meant to fight dogs, because goblins hate dogs. And we're beating on this thing, and it's like biting and flailing and like jumping from tree to tree. We can't let it get away, because this is the monster that goblins fear, and won't it make a great campfire tale if we kill it? And I think it was me that threw the last shot, an alchemy bomb. He lit it with the fire that was nearby and threw it up into the tree where this spider was, and it knocked it out of the tree and did enough damage. It landed on its back and just splat in all directions. We're like, yeah! Can we eat it? Oh wait, it's poisonous. We probably shouldn't. Dang it! Well, we're gonna put all of its legs in our in our bags, so we keep the spider's legs like they're trophies or something. It's like we could have kept the eyes or the mandibles or the like harvested a poison sac or something. No, we just pull all of its legs off. There's 4 of us. We each get 2 giant spider legs. In World of Warcraft, you can eat spider legs. Shut up. We're gonna cook these later at the festival. Yeah. And so that ends, and we've got a couple of potions, and we try to heal back up and rest for a minute, but we've got to press on, because the festival is only going to last for so long, and if the festival ends and we don't come back with the fireworks in time, well, you know, we weren't quick enough, and Chief Gutwad will not be pleased with his 4 heroes that he tested before he sent out. So we've got like a day and a half to make this happen. Like, okay, we got to go on now. Anything else that's in this forest, we'll fuck it up too. Let's go. And finally we come to a big clearing. And we go, okay, what is this? It's a ship. It's the ship we were looking for. It's a great big, like, merchant ship with glass portals in it, and it's tilted one way, half sunk into the mud. There's no real way of knowing how it got there. Because, you know, if the tide were that high, the Licktoad tribe would not be living here. So somehow this boat made its way into this marsh and got grounded here a long time ago. It's covered with moss and filth and God knows what else. It's also got a fence, which makes us stop for a moment. Why do we have a fence here that's it's taller than goblin sized? It's like something that a man would make. Why are we going to fight tall 2 legs here? I don't see any tracks. I don't see anything. But we do hear something worse. We hear the thunder of hooves. There is a black stallion running laps around this fence that are encircling this ship. And we go, God damn it. You know, giant horsey, oh no. So it's like, do we time it? Do we just like run past it, or do we fight it? No, we are not coward. We fight it. We run up with our dog slicers and we just like take out its knees right out from under it. And the stallion is not impressed with these 4 green little assholes that come up while it's doing laps or whatever it happened to be doing at the time, racing around the ship for exercise. And then we come out of the freaking bushes swinging dog slicers and throwing alchemist fire. Because horses to goblins are a big deal. That's like fighting a dragon to a goblin. It's way, way bigger than you. It's all muscle and fur, and it can kill you in 1 hit. It's basically the goblin equivalent of a dragon. And so it stomps, it rears, it kicks our fighter goblin into the fence, and it breaks, and he takes all kinds of damage. Rob, the rogue goblin, like tries to flank it, but it's like it's too big, so he can't reach its underbelly without like running and jumping. So we just have to like fight its legs like a World of Warcraft raid boss. The tank can only see the boss's ankles. But we fight it and we eventually knock it over and manage to kill it with a lot of effort. So we burn like the rest of our potions, because this thing did so much damage, just like stomping and kicking us. It's why goblins don't like horses, because they're trouble, damn it. But, you know, we made a lot of noise during this, so clearly we are not sneaking up on Vorca, the cannibal goblin. And we're like, okay, we've got to get onto the ship. She knows we're coming by now, but she's not coming out. So we cross the fence, we cross the little courtyard yard, and we find the rungs where the side ladder of the ship is, and we climb our way up there. And just as we're getting up onto the ship, Vorca comes out wielding like 2 of the freaking Roman candle guns at the same time. Just like she lit both of them and then kicked the door out and started like just shooting sparks and sprays of firework colors in all directions, just sprays us down like freaking dragon's breath. And we throw ourselves behind crates, we throw ourselves behind the mast, waiting for this like spray of death to stop. Because again, we're level 1, we're goblins, we're not wearing armor, Roman candles, never point a Roman candle at anyone because it hurts a lot. And she had two of the big ones and just lit them both and started trying to light us up. So once they ran out, she ran back inside and we're like, get her, that cannibal fuck. And we dash inside, we kick the door in, and Vorca is in like the hold, the belly of the ship where everything's like, it's broken crates and broken furniture. There's a little like nest where she sleeps. She also has a giant, like a bile toad or something, a big frog, a big bullfrog that's like purple and green, and it's as big as we are. So it is well within the powers of this thing to just freaking like its tongue, blah, and just pull us into its mouth. So this two-way boss battle goes on right away as we charge into this room, and I think it was me, actually, that got hit with this frog first. Is like its tongue stuck to my chest. Ah! And I got pulled halfway into its mouth where it started like gumming on me for a while. No, let me out! Ah! So it was like gumming me for like 1 or 2 damage every turn until my friends could get me out. And Rob, of course, charges straight for Vorca, so they try to like cut her down before she does anything else. And if there are crates of these fireworks like scattered around the room, how she recovered them all was really unclear. But maybe it was like a caravan robbing sort of thing. And just, man, it was a long fight where we kept rolling low and she kept like jumping around trying to get back to the crates of fireworks. It was like, everybody guard a box and we'll try to make sure she doesn't light us up again, because God knows if she lights something and then drops it and all the other fireworks go off, we're all dead, and her little frog too. So after we struggle and fight and like wrestle with this freaking cannibal goblin who is not above just like biting us on the shoulder with our little needle teeth, and just like, don't throw any alchemist fire, just use like your cudgel and stuff like that. And the frog is leaping all over the place because it's like her, I don't know if she was like a ranger or a druid, it's had levels in something, she could tell it what to do. It kept like lancing its tongue out and like pulling us into its mouth. Ah, no, don't eat me! It's like you can see the goblin from the waist down outside this bullfrog trying not to get eaten, but his head is too like round and bulbous to pull out of this bullfrog's mouth. And finally we kill both of them after a long struggle, and we're like, yeah, we did it, we got the fireworks. And it's like, there's 3 or 4 crates of fireworks here. You can strap them to your backs. And it's like, okay, we'll cut off Vorca's ear and bring it back as evidence, and we'll cut off the frog's tongue, and we can cook that later. And we will make our way back to the Licktoad tribe festival. So we've got like 4 or 5, 3 or 4 just crates of fireworks. By the time we get there, it's dusk. The festival is just about ready for fireworks. And, goblins love fire, so as soon as you shoot out the first firework, everything stops. Everybody stops talking. They look up. Ooh. Like imagine like 50 of these green little bastards stopping whatever they're doing. Ooh. And just lighting firework after firework. They're taking Roman candles and they're shooting them at each other. They're jabbing each other in the ass with sparklers. There's bottle rockets going off. Some of them are going into people's tents. They're just playing with them like 9-year-olds. But the festival is a complete success because we be goblins and we be victorious. So that was my experience with We Be Goblins. It was just a silly, like, comedy one-shot that I loved, that introduced me to Pathfinder, that got me to get the Pathfinder Goblins comics. I have a serious thing for goblins, and I have a serious thing for kobolds, but this really cemented it for me because it was so fun and lighthearted and silly, and it really cemented my path into Pathfinder. So I guess that's where I'll stop for today. That was just a one-shot I wanted to share with you guys. So I hope you enjoyed that. I hope you got a little bit of a laugh out of it like I did. And I'll see you guys on the next D&D Stories. Keep gaming. Hey guys, thanks for watching. Be sure to hit that like button for me. If you want to keep up with channel updates, check me out on Facebook. And if you're feeling especially generous, be sure to visit my Patreon. Keep gaming!